Hello everyone, and we're back today with Richard from Ocuplan. Richard does some fantastic stuff to benefit the industry and the patients and everyone involved really, but I'll leave him to discuss exactly what they do. Richard, how's it going?
Very good, very good. This place is great. 100% Ocuplan is buzzing.
Enjoying your day?
Absolutely fantastic, and there's so many good people to meet.
You're home for the next 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't heard of Ocuplan, it's essentially a shared care platform for people living with long-term eye conditions. So things like AMD, things like glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, even ocular hypertension, that sort of stuff, the long-term stuff. And it's shared care because patient still gets the gold standard of care. They still get to see the consultant ophthalmologist, the same one every single time. They can choose their appointment times. They don't get mucked around. There's no long waiting lists, all that sort of stuff. But the OCT and the visual field tests are done in the optician. They're not done in a hospital environment. And that brings the prices right down. So it's a bit odd because both the consultant and the optician can set their own prices. But with our standard prices, that equates to a consumer proposition that is $19.99 a month. So it is private care, but it's at really affordable
Very
prices.
affordable level.
Really affordable. The same level of care, if you do that in the private system going to a hospital, you're going to be paying £500 or £600 to see that consultant once.
Exactly.
And very few people can afford that kind of thing.
Talk me through the pathway from start to finish for the patient.
Patient might come to us from any direction, right? So they might be a patient you already see in your opticians. They might be a patient that's already being seen by a consultant, or they may come to us directly. So we've already got a partnership with the Macular Society. We're about to have a partnership with Glaucoma UK.
Amazing.
And we're doing a whole series of outreach programs, basically, to make sure that people know about this. It's a third option, right? So people normally only have the choice of really expensive private care or going on the NHS
waiting 6 months.
Where you're waiting, a long time. And it's worse than 6 months. It's a bit of a postcode lottery, but for glaucoma, it's often 18 months. Sometimes it's 2 years. And sometimes you go in a black hole and you don't know when.
It's funny you say that. Sometimes I referred someone for glaucoma. They come back after 2 years. I was like, how was your hospital appointment? Still not been seen.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous.
I was talking to a wet AMD person the other day. And they'd been seen, they had their set of injections. And then I was saying, so when are you seeing them next? And she said, I don't know. Okay, have you been notified?
Yeah.
No, I presume they're just going to notify me. And she still had some sight, right? So, and this was 5 or 6 months later, she'd heard nothing. And I had to nudge her and say, you should probably ask them, because she just might have been falling through the slats. And with wet AMD, if you're not on it,
once it's late,
you lose
it's late.
it. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually, dry AMD is interesting as well, because optoms, for dry AMD, when you see the early signs of AMD, there's not a lot you can do as an optom. You're not, in the main, you're not allowed to refer into the NHS because there's no treatment.
Yeah.
But that's not the same thing as there's nothing you can do, right? So it's really important that people know what they're dealing with so that they can make the lifestyle changes to, just slow the progression of the disease. Stopping smoking, having the right diet, all of that stuff, and the vitamins and supplements, getting the right ones, can make a difference. It's not a cure, but if you slow it down, you can really prolong people's sight, their independence, and all that sort of stuff. We did a survey with the Macular Society. They've got 55,000 members, and we did a survey. Not all of them responded, but we found that 55% of them had lost some sight before they knew they were living with AMD.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
You wouldn't know until you get tested,
That's horrible, right? And it's not surprising, but there's a hesitancy for optoms to say anything because, it might not develop, they might not,
So how does Ocuplan solve that problem?
Well, so when we saw that, we built a free service, and it's really to help optoms, right? So they are time poor. You've got a certain amount of time for an appointment. It's not a very nice conversation to have. You cannot spend half an hour with the patient talking about that. So we built a free service so that anytime you see the first sign of changes and you think that might develop, we're saying just refer them to us, right? And we have a partnership with the Macular Society so that we refer to each other, we cross-signpost. With that free service, we will continue to educate people. We will allow them to have direct access to a consultant. So it's not a consultation, but they can ask consultants a specific question about themselves and what their situation is. And sometimes it's just reassuring, and sometimes these messages do need to get across, and optoms can't be the ones to do it the whole time.
Yeah.
Obviously, for us, sometimes people go up to the paid service, but because it's only 20 quid, they might come back down again.
I don't see why you would come back down after seeing the benefits.
No, they don't. To be honest. And we have 97% retention rate. So at the end of each year, 97% don't stay with us, and half of that's because unfortunately they've died. So
that's unfortunate.
Not a lot we can do about that. But
where do you see Ocuplan going in the future? What part does it play in the optical industry?
I just think it's massive, to be honest, because everyone wins, right? So because the optician wins, and because the consultant wins, and the patient wins. I just think it's, as the NHS contracts and as private care gets more and more expensive, that sort of middle ground of the best standard of care for affordable prices, what is not to like? And I actually see this going further than just the optical industry, to be honest, because this is not just a problem in optical care, right? It is everywhere. So it's been bought by Simply Health. So I still do work for Simply Health. Simply Health is a bit unusual. It is a private company, but it doesn't have any shareholders. So it invests all its profits back into its purpose. And its purpose is in improving access to healthcare for everyone in the UK. And that's partially why we can do a free service. This is all...
It's a win-win for everyone, isn't it?
We saw Ocuplan and we thought, wow, that's like Denplan, but for eyes. Denplan we own. It's for teeth. It is. And we've seen the NHS dentistry has just got worse and worse over the past few decades.
Worse than optometry.
Really. There are some areas you cannot get NHS dentistry at all. And the people doing private dentistry, this is not, people driving around in Lamborghinis and that sort of thing. They just happen to have patients who would rather get good quality service, and they're often paying 20 quid a month. It's very, very similar. So we saw it and we thought we can make that happen and really boost it. So we are growing like anything, and because everyone wins.
I think everyone wins, and we need to move with the times. We can't just be stuck 20 years old, just simply referring to the hospital, wait for them to see the patient. We need to, in the modern day, use technology to improve patients' life and improve their healthcare. And I think even if it's a small fee to pay, they'll be happy to pay it. So kudos to you guys, and I hope it's a massive success because the potential for it is enormous.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you.